I know our men will be very happy to hear this. Fortunately, guys, herbs can help support men's health as they age to improve stamina, and also they can act as antioxidants. Now, here to talk to us and tell us more is a herbal doctor himself, Marlon Herlock. Hello, Doc. How are you?
Hey, Debbie. How are you? It's nice to be on, and Dwayne as well.
Yes, and Dwayne in particular is very excited about this segment. He was just talking to me off air a while ago how much he wants to learn and sit at your feet so that you can show him the way to the herbland of all things stamina. You know, he needs it. So
all right. Well, first of all, our mantra is that the greatest weapon against sickness and disease is education, not medication. And as such, we do our utmost best to get as much information out there as possible. We have a weekly YouTube series called Herbally Speaking, and what we do is that we seek to provide persons with the knowledge of what are the herbs and natural alternatives that are out there, as well as how to identify those herbs in the wild. And as it relates to male reproductive health, Jamaica has a reputation of having a vast array of herbs. Some that I'm going to be discussing, I don't want anyone to think that this is by no means exhaustive, but I'm going to talk about some of those herbs that are well known and that are also very effective.
Yes, let's get into them. Let's get into the more popular ones that, you know, people always talk about, you know, as the perfect herb for the stamina for the men.
All right. Before I do so, I want to do the responsible thing by saying that whatever herbs that we discuss, whatever herbal supplement or natural supplement that anyone is going to take, that they should first of all discuss it with their medical doctor or their healthcare provider, because anything that can help you can just as much hurt you just the same. So some of the top herbs are, for example, sarsaparilla, herbs like medina, herbs like cheney root, herbs like
spirulina,
what we call shame lady.
Yeah.
There's a famous ramoon. As a matter of fact, ramoon is so famous that even the animals in wild know ramoon. If a ramoon tree is anywhere near a goat or a horse or a donkey, especially a goat will strip the ramoon down to its bark because of how effective it is. There's herbs like guava bud, and guava bud is not known in many circles as a herb that is geared towards reproductive health, but especially for men who are having prostate enlargement problem. And I must say that we have a very excellent program as it relates to enlarged prostate. Then there's a strong back. In Jamaica, there's about 3 herbs that are identified as strong back. One of them that we like to feature is one that is called the Morinda Roya.
Yes.
It is called Duppy Soursop, but it is one of those herbs that is very effective. And I'm going to talk about these herbs in particular and what they do.
All right, but Doc, we're talking about herbs. Do I just have the herbs? I have to eat no food, I have to do nothing else, just have the herbs and I'll be fine? Because that's what some people may think, you know, it's herbs.
And then how much is too much?
Yeah, because you have to proportion the thing.
Yes, and that's why I said that what you want to do is there's so much that goes into herb preparation from the point of selecting the herbs. Herbs have to be proper selected at the right time. Outside of that, they have to be prepared in a particular way. Now, for some persons, you can take these herbs are what we call restorative herbs. A lot of these herbs are very high in iron, for example, and so even for persons who have cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, they want to be under the direction of a healthcare provider, because a lot of these herbs that help the male reproductive health also affect, because of how the male reproductive organ works with increased blood flow. These herbs can also affect persons who have high blood pressure. So you want to be very careful in taking these products. But I also want to say to persons, we see a lot of persons who take these products when they find out that they have a problem. The best approach to natural medicine is prevention. And so I want to target those men who are in the age of 40 and age 45 who their testosterone level begins to decrease. Because once your testosterone level begins to decrease, then your estrogen level begins to increase, which is one of the factors that are associated with enlarged prostate.
Yeah.
Okay. But Doc, all right, you speak to the men 40 to 45, but what about younger men who
Like your age.
Yeah, in my age group. So say 25 to 35 who are finding issues.
Yes.
What's the advice for them?
We are seeing an increase.
There is an increase
in that doing. Because of the type of food and because of certain lifestyle, overexposure to alcohol, not getting enough rest, there are a number of risky factors that can affect a man's reproductive health even when they are young, which that should not be so. Because at that age, the body is producing the hormones at the level to sustain and to maintain a man's reproductive health. But there are certain risky habits that can put those persons at risk. For those persons who are in their age 35, we say to them, watch your alcohol consumption, watch your partying and your sleeping habits, watch certain types of foods that you eat. Because persons who are, for example, men who are, for example, diabetic, will have a serious, that will contribute seriously to their reproductive health as well.
Yeah.
So
now I was going to ask about how we now identify them, because I mean some of these herbs grow in our backyards wildly and we sometimes ignore them. And then what's the best way now to prepare them as well? We draw them as tea, or we have them raw, or
All right. So what's the best? And there are a number of persons. One of the approaches that I recommend is, first of all, making sure that these herbs are harvested properly, meaning that they need to be harvested away from as much human contamination as possible, animal contamination. So it's best to get these herbs in the wild. It's best to get these herbs, and I mean, this may vary. Some persons say full moon, dark night, but for herbs that you want the medicine in them, herbs are more succulent. Medicines are more available in herbs during the full moon. If you're in the timber business or the lumber business, you don't want the herb with the sap in it. So that's when you will look those plants at dark night. So during full moon, which is from the new moon to the 15th of the month, the herb is at its most potent time. As a matter of fact, there's a term menstruum, which is the term used to describe medicine. The word menstruum and menstrual come from the same root word, which means moon. So there is in the ancient knowledge of herb, you want to extract the medicine from the herb in tandem with the cycle of the moon. So that's the best time to extract the herb. And then once you extract it, barks and roots have to be boiled. Stems and so on have to be steeped. So what I recommend is soaking it for at least 24 hours so that you can cut down on the boiling time, because we have to also remember that when you boil something, when it is exposed to heat, then the heat destroys a lot of the very powerful chemicals and phytochemicals that you need. As a matter of fact, you can prepare a decoction, that's what it's called, a decoction, just by steeping it in cold water.
Yeah, because when you boil stuff, it changes the properties.
Constitution.
Yeah. And so my final question to you before we go, some recommendations for improving the stamina and
Well, if you want to improve the stamina, as I said, these are some of the top herbs, and there are many more that can be used. Medina, sarsaparilla, and of course, it's not just to combine these herbs. It comes with experience, the formulation, with the right amount. And as I said, that's the reason why we have a series on YouTube called Herbally Speaking. Anyone who wants to find us, if you type in 876 herbs in Google, all of our videos will come up, and we give more, when we have more time, we give more detailed information as to how to do it. But these herbs, Medina, sarsaparilla, chainy root, shema lady, as a matter of fact, chainy root is high in testosterone. That's one of the things that is high in. I'm not going to get the chance to go into the different constituents of this herb, but chainy root and sarsaparilla, chainy root and shema lady are two herbs. If there's any man right now having any serious concern, these are two of the top herbs that they need to get.
Dwayne, you heard it? Sarsaparilla and chainy roots for you, D. You were talking to me earlier on about the problems.
Say no more, Doc. Say no more. Remember, a better lifestyle with the use of the right herbs for men can easily help men to achieve great health and fitness. So more to come on Weekend Smile after the break. So remember, check out Doc on YouTube you know,
Yeah.
herbally speaking.
Trust me, I